Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, I'll be telling you about the input ready query. If you are a SAP BPC consultant or if you are a SAP Integrated Planning consultant, you need to know about this concept in input ready query as it's a very vital part for the planning. So let me tell you that, and also I'll be covering the features, like what are the features a query should have for the input enabled. And starting with the definition, input ready queries are meant or created for manual planning. And this is one screenshot. If you see that, and input ready inputs are mainly built on the key figures, like you have a key figure price in person B1, and there if you go to the planning mode, there you can find the options. There will be three options. One is not input ready, not relevant or locking, not input ready, relevant or locking, and last one is the input ready, relevant for locking. So this last option, input ready, relevant for locking, is will allow you for the manual planning. Going to the next slide, and here the query that you have, that should be in the change mode. If you go to the query properties, there you can find the option called planning, and the query should be check marked here like the change mode. Now there are some other criteria that you need to fill, like the query should be built either on the real-time ADSO or ADSO with direct update, or the ACPR based on this type of ADSOs. Meaning that the ACPR, that will be the query that you will be creating, that will be actually built on the either you can make on ACPR or you can make on the aggregation level, but the base ADSO should be either real time or ADSO with direct update. Now the can be planned behavior must be set for the real-time providers. Every real-time providers will have two properties in the planning. One is the planning enabled and the other one is the loading enabled. So if you are doing for input ready, then it must be set as planning enabled. Now for the key figures, so as I said in the previous slide, it should be set as input ready, relevant for locking must be set. Now there are some few more features that you need to fill. One is that each characteristics in the aggregation level must have exactly one single value, either in the drill down or in the filter, no multiple selection. I will be explaining this section in the next slide, and just read the next one. Fields must be available in the query. So these two feature I will be explaining in the coming slides. So my first feature was that every characteristic should be available in the query, and also there should be no multiple selection. So this is a example. In the left side you can see that I have the filter, year and version, and there's some characteristics and key figure amount. So here this cell is input ready because whatever the fields I have in the aggregation level, I have taken in the query, and also I have the filter applied on the variable characteristics. Now coming to the right hand side, the left hand side example is the ideal example that you can follow. Now we will be going through the example where the cell is not input ready, and I will be telling you the reason. The first, this in the right hand side you can see that this cell is not input ready. The reason is the product in aggregation level but not added in query, meaning that if any characteristics are not added in query but it's available in aggregation level, in that case the cell cannot be input ready. Now going to the next example. So here the example with the multiple selection of cal month. As I said earlier in the previous slide, that every characteristic should have single filter, not the multiple or summed filter. Like here in the case of amount, you can see that this 1 to 3, January to March, so it's a 3 months in one selection. In that case, your this cell cannot be input ready. So multiple selection are not allowed. Coming to the next example, and here also this cell, this amount is not input ready because you have a filter called currency where you have actually mentioned two filters, and that is not uh, the case for input ready. So what you have to do if you have such kind of requirement where you have to put two currencies, so you have to make two different cells. Like you can see the corner here we have the amount EUR and amount USD. So these two different cells, if you put in the row, then it is possible for the input planning. So that's the main features in this case. So that's all about this tutorial, and I believe I have provided you the information you need about the input ready query. And feel free to write question in the comment, or if you want to know more about this input ready query or anything about the planning or in BW. Thank you for watching.